are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports War. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. Once again, it is the Barnes and Tony show.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Anthony, how are you, my friends?
I'm doing pretty well today, dude, sporting the Mets hat, first time this season. Totally pumped for baseball. Obviously still excited for hockey, but pumped on this hump day to be here, talk some sports. Dude, I feel like a little bit of a dog day in sports news. But still, I mean, there's a few good topics we can discuss here the next hour or so, dude.
Is there a few, sir? There is a few. But let's start first with my favorite topic, the world of golf.
Wow, dude.
So we do have the Players Championship, commencing, tomorrow. And obviously, this is the most prestigious, non-major tournament that we have in the world of golf. And this, of course, as I mentioned the last couple of days in Puerto Verde, Florida, at TPC Sawgrass. And obviously, most known for that island 17th hole. Did you I feel like I was talking to you about this. Did you happen to look that up?
No.
Are you familiar with it?
No, not exactly.
I want you to actually put the a picture of it on, if we could share it with the audience, just in case someone's not familiar with it.
All right, 17th hole here. TPC Sawgrass. This is it?
Yep.
So this is what I'm looking for?
Let's do a screen share.
Oh yes. Hold on, stand by. The old screen share, dude. TPC golf. And there we have it, dude.
I mean,
so that's what we're looking
hole.
at here.
And you're looking at the back of the hole. So the tee box, right across the water there, 137 yards.
Right.
To the green there.
Wow.
In a very sloped, quick green.
So obviously this is the pin right here. Right. And then over here is where
I think it's to the right.
Oh, it's over here is the tee box.
Exactly.
Holy shit, dude.
So and it's funny too, everybody remember I was telling you about the whole amateur thing. And everyone's like, geez, it looks so much bigger on the screen. And then you think, too, wind usually hollowing in that area. Just the difficulty of hitting.
This is the drone shot. I don't know what this is about.
No, but that is the tee box.
This is the tee box. Someone must have just shanked it. Fucking.
But I mean, what are your thoughts about hitting? How many attempts do you think it would take you?
How far is it? 101?
37.
137. If I had to guess here, just kind of looking at it, I feel like I can get it in 6.
6 tries.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think it really depends on the wind.
Yeah.
137 yards is kind of in between for me, but I would probably, just to be safe.
We're talking just hitting, not staying on it.
No, staying. Oh, yeah, Tony. I mean, come on. Are we approaching the green to hit the ball in the water? I mean, what are we doing here?
I mean, that slope is pretty crazy, dude.
I know. So, looking at that, I'd probably hit a pitching wedge and not a full pitching wedge because I think that would be too much, but just a nice, easy swinging pitching wedge, I think would be enough to plop it on there. What club would you use to hit that?
I mean, I do enjoy the wedge. I don't know. I feel like I might use like a 9-iron or something though.
9-iron, yeah. And would it be a full 9, a light 9? What type of 9 are we talking?
A full 9.
Full 9, yeah. But very cool hole, huh?
Very cool. It is. Is it like? I mean, it looks pretty unique. But is there anything like this anywhere else that it's on an island?
It's the most famous par 3 hole, definitely in the country for sure. And there's actually a replica that I've played.
I know this guy.
That's Ricky Fowler.
That is Ricky Fowler.
That I've played in Myrtle Beach. It's called the World Tour, and they have all the different holes from all different golf courses around the world. This being one of them. as well
That's pretty
as
cool.
in Wallingford, the Tradition
Connecticut?
Club. Yeah, there's a whole. I mean, it's not like identical to that by any means, but it's just the same concept of having that island green.
Yeah, that is crazy.
So that's kind of,
dude.
something that stands out. And obviously you could see, they have the tents, set up behind there. So that's always a hole that
super cool.
requires a lot of attention. And I'm going to look this up. I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I have no idea, and I'm sure you don't either, but giving it your best guess, total holes in one at this hole.
Like of all time?
Yeah.
Total. I'm gonna say, I don't know, maybe how long has this tournament been happening here at TPC Sawgrass?
1982.
Okay, so we're talking over 41 years.
Right. Obviously difficult shot.
Right.
Lucky enough to hit it on the green.
I guess, but I feel like it's like deceivingly like there's a good amount, maybe. I'm gonna say 7.
10.
Oh,
but if you think about it, over 40 years, this tournament has 144 golfers. I mean, a lot of shots are being fired. That's not a high percentage by any means.
No, it's really not.
And I just want to check one more thing. Last hole in one at TPC Sawgrass 17. Shane Lowry just last year.
Really?
3rd round. So the
wow, dude,
former Open champion with a hole-in-one last year. So that's something interesting to watch. And everybody, I mean, that's something that just goes viral when someone hits a shot like that.
Oh yeah.
But other than that hole, just to kind of get into this tournament, like I said, the most prestigious non-major tournament we have in the world of golf. Winner's share this year is up $900,000 from last year. So $4.5 million will go to the winner of this year's Players Championship, a total purse of $25 million, which we've seen amongst these elevated events. And just to give everybody an idea as well, recent champions, Cam Smith, not in the field this year, obviously, but did win 13 under par last year. And actually, the top 3 golfers from last year's players will not be playing all on live. Anarabin Lahari is also a live golfer. And then Paul Casey finished 3rd. The 2021 champ was Justin Thomas at 14 under par. And then, no tournament in 2020. They played 1 round and then canceled right at the heart of the COVID situation. 2019, Rory won. 2018, Webb Simpson. 2017, Siwoo Kim. 2016, Jason Day. 2015, Ricky Fowler. 2014, Martin Keimer. 2013, Tiger Woods, 10 years ago.
Wow.
For his 2nd Players Championship. And I'm just kind of curious if you could take your best guess here. So I said this year, winner will get $4.5 million. 10 years ago, take a guess what the winner got.
10 years ago. Wow, decade. So this is just the winner, right? Not the
winner's share.
Okay. Winner share is 4.5. It's a fucking huge share. 700 grand.
1.7, but I mean that's more than double.
Yeah, in a decade.
Over 10 years.
Yeah.
So I mean that's obviously a huge increase. So just thought that was interesting. So those are your recent champs. That's the purse. And just to kind of give you an idea of the big names. Obviously, all the big names are in the field, but just to kind of recap, you got Rory, obviously past champion there. Scotty Scheffler, Max Homa, John Rahm, former champion Jason Day, Terrell Hatton, Keegan Bradley, Victor Hovland, as well as Justin Thomas, Shane Lowry, last year's hole-in-one, Tony Finau, Patrick Cantley, Sungjae Im, Matt Fitzpatrick, Keith Mitchell, past champion Ricky Fowler, Will Zalatoris, Corey Connors, Cameron Young, Nick Taylor, Jordan Spieth, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, and last week's winner, Kurt Kitayama. So many different guys in this field, so many different directions to go. I know you've had some time to think about this one, Tony. Your winner of the 2023 Players Championship is.
I'm gonna go with Keegan Bradley. Dude.
Wow!
Yeah,
you've been doing some research.
So I did some research here. He's been having, one of the better career years for him. He's 36 years old. Obviously, so been around for a while. Won the Zozo Championship this year. Second at Farmers. Placed 5th last season here at the Players. And, obviously that was good for him. But, the fact that, this year, I feel like for him has been, his career year, you would expect a better finish than 5th. He said that he's had a huge focus on physical fitness, what he attributes his success this season from, as well as, I guess this is a little anecdotal, but the man is originally from Woodstock, Vermont, which is where we went skiing last weekend.
Is that kind of what put you over?
Yeah, it kind of did put me over. And I saw him. I was like, 5th last year's pretty solid. He's been doing good this year. And then the Woodstock was like, I got to hit him. And then went to St. John's University in Queens for college, too. So you got to love that. So give me Keegan Bradley, brother. Let's go.
And would you feel that out of all the golf picks you've made on this show, that's probably your most out of the box type of selection? You're going with a guy, not a top favorite,
right.
One of the guys I just mentioned, but not like the top of the list. So you're kind of going out on a limb, you feel a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you know what the odds are on him?
No, I don't know. I can double check here.
But I definitely like the originality of that selection, and a guy who had won a major championship, 9-10 years ago. Let's see. So Keegan Bradley plus it's 50-1, plus 5,000.
Oh wow, yeah, it is right here. Bang, dude. Wow, 50-1.
So I'm not gonna quite go 50-1, Tony, but I am gonna go 36-1, and a guy who we just mentioned as the notable names, someone who's won this tournament before, and a guy who's had a really resurgent year on the PGA Tour. He's in the top 50 in the world now. At one point was number 1 in the world. Jason Day has really had a resurgent year. You look at it, just going by even his last 4 starts. He was 10th last week at Bay Hill, 9th at the Genesis, 5th at the Waste Management, 7th at the Farmers Insurance Open. So, like I said, he was the 2016 champ, and has that one major, the PGA Championship, I believe, which was in 2016 as well, if I'm not mistaken. So Jason Day, really a good story. He's 35 years old now. And it seemed like he had kind of really lost the feel of things. Okay, so yeah, it was the 2015 PGA. Had lost the feel of things, and he is back. He is confident. And these are the type of stories, you like to see, because a lot of times we write off these golfers. I mean, in mid-30s, he's got plenty left in his career, a lot to accomplish. So definitely a name to keep an eye out for. And at 36-1, as we would say, put a couple of shekels up there would be a nice payday.
50-1, those better.
Keegan Bradley at 50-1, definitely very tempting. But we will get underway tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:50
Throw
Eastern.
a couple shekels up there.
We'll have groups going off the front and back 9.
You're gonna be tuning in at that time.
6:50, possibly.
There's nothing.
A little early for me, but I'm sure I'll be checking for updates. And we will give you a leaderboard update tomorrow. But I am so excited for the Players Championship.
Me too, dude.
Do you think we get a hole-in-one this year?
Wow. I would say statistically, no.
Right. 10 out of 41 years.
Yeah.
So at one every 4 years.
Basically.
But I don't know why. It's been a special year on the PGA Tour.
It has been.
I do have a feeling we are going to get one.
Maybe Jason Day get one.
Yeah. Maybe Keegan Bradley.
We got a few comments here, Brian, if you want to hit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Matthew Gabriel with the golf, and then he says this show is the absolute best show in sports, and he wants a battle royale between you and Skip Bayless, dude. He says Barnes would wipe the floor with Skip each and every time. Dude.
We know that, Tony. We know we are ready to go there.
Dude, what a chief guy, huh?
At the top of the list.
How about, did you see the shit that, I think this was over the past weekend too, with Stephen A about the whole, how he was really discrediting hockey?
No.
on whatever fucking show he gets. What did he do?
First Take?
Get First Take. Yeah. I forget who he had on. But it's him. It's whoever the woman is who's the host of the show, who like kind of moderates the show. And then whoever
Molly Curum, who was married to Jalen Rose.
Correct.
Get divorced.
Yeah. And then whatever dude that was on talk, and he asked the question like, what New York team you think will be the next to win their championship?
Right.
And he goes, oh, like I'll probably say the Rangers. And him and Molly are both laughing, and they're like, hockey doesn't count. Like let's keep it. And he goes, the only thing I know about hockey is that the puck is black, and he's super friends with whoever he was talking about. And they were just like, no, like honestly though, like between like basketball, football, and like who do you think really?
I think we have a couple of comments coming in hot.
Wow, we do 5 comments, dude. Molly, she sucks. Total airhead idiot. Oh my god. Hockey doesn't count.
And tensions have been flying over there on First Take. You saw the other thing with JJ Redick, Perkins, the whole MVP. Such a ridiculous conversation.
Ridiculous take, dude.
And I'm going to leave it as simple as this. I mean, you look at Nikola Jokic's numbers over the past couple of years, there's no other reason why he's winning MVP other than his unbelievable production.
Right.
So to say anything else is completely idiotic. So that's why I've never been a fan of Perkins. I mean, what did he accomplish on the court?
Right. Nothing.
So I was very proud of JJ Redick, a guy I always liked yesterday, really coming at them with that.
And then Stephen A. went to Twitter too after the whole Rangers thing, was like, I was just joking. I love the Reds. Go Rangers. And it was so pathetic, dude. Honestly, like literally. Like Matt just said it too. Should have been fired. Like literally, like that on the spot.
Yep.
Like that. Like literally, like that is a fireable offense. Like first of all, and it's pretty clear also that ESPN was probably like, hey, Stephen A. Like we cover hockey now,
right?
So like, do you mind? You probably should say something. And then that was it. That was his Twitter fucking
you want
video.
to come after hockey? You're supposed to be an NBA specialist. The game's a joke right now.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. You can talk about hockey all you want. Those guys are really battling every night. Just a complete disgrace out of Stephen A. But that's something we've become accustomed to over the past 5 to 10 years. So completely ridiculous.
Really is, dude.
But it's just one of those things where I just don't understand where the whole idea that we need Stephen A. plastered all over our TV screens. And the fact too, he started with ESPN as a basketball specialist, and we know the whole story. And I know Matt's cracking up thinking about the whole original video of First Take with him, arguing with Jalen Rose and Skip Bayless. But we know, that he played, I think, Winston-Salem State, cracked his kneecap, that whole story. But then to think, he's an expert on boxing. He's, qualified to talk about baseball. He doesn't even know the proper first name of the Yankees owner. I mean, talk about an absolute disgrace. And ESPN cannot get enough of him, and it really has been going severely downhill. The past 5 to 10 years, which is coincidentally enough when they've really made this press for him to be plastered all over the TV screen. And one topic that he loves talking about is actually Aaron Rodgers. And that actually parlays into our next topic here. Let's go to the world of the National Football League.
6 for 101, 2 touchdowns. To Evans, touchdown, Tampa Bay. How about that throw? Sam Darnold blasted. Oh my goodness, did he take a hit? In trouble once, brings him down. Lost one from Odell Beckham Jr. Got it down, touchdown.
All right. So Dwayne joins us. What's going on, man?
Nothing much.
You actually just missed. So if we could get a quick pick out of you, you just missed. We previewed the Players Championship.
Okay.
Starting tomorrow. Tony went with 50-1 long shot Keegan Bradley. I went a little bit of a lesser dog, but nevertheless good odds. Jason Day 36-1.
Another dog,
A guy who won back in 2016. Obviously all the big names in this tournament this week. You have your eye on anybody specifically to win this one?
It's so fun because I've been getting a lot of noise about Justin Day of late, so I'm not surprised that you picked to go with him. I'm still gonna ride with Roy. I think I'm gonna go with Roy.
Close last week.
Yeah,
I know. He was
playing
my
good golf
second
right
choice, honestly.
And Tony was one stroke away last week from going back to back with 2 picks in a row. I mean, how hard is that to pick 2 golf tournament winners in a row?
It's ridiculous, dude.
So Tony right on the button there. And then you're familiar, obviously, with the Island Green on 17. We were talking about it. Tony, what did you say? Was it 6 attempts, 4 attempts? What did you say?
I said 6 attempts.
6 attempps to stick it on the green, 137 yards out. What would you give yourself? Attempts to get it there, wind swirling, and we're talking to
wind
not
swirling,
just hitting the green, but staying on the green. Because you see, that it's moving in all different directions.
I'm gonna go 5.
5.
Wow.
I'm gonna go 5,
wow. Dude.
Feeling ambitious right now.
You know what I never gave my answer. So I feel pressured to just have the lowest amount of attempts. So I'm gonna say 3.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
It probably is ridiculous, but I would just nice and easy pitching pitch when I know I would get up there and just right into the water. Like no chance at all. But I'm really excited for that tomorrow.
The water jugs are full.
So I just wanted to get your thoughts there. Of course, though, now we're talking NFL, and of course, the big story yesterday, Rodgers meeting with the Jets brass in California. Seems like a deal is imminent. That he's going to be coming to the Jets, and I think the whole thing is they're just working out, kind of what the plans are, who they're going to add this offseason. They already have his old offensive coordinator and Nathaniel Hackett.
I know.
So, I mean, what do you guys think about this? Is it pretty much a done deal in your eyes? Aaron Rodgers to the Jets.
I would really love to think so. I don't know, dude. I feel like, obviously this has been a lot of talk too, even this morning leading up to today, because they went, I think yesterday, right? They flew over to Cali. The Jets did. So, I don't know. Part of me thinks like, okay, like by the end of the day today, like they're gonna have a decision. Because I would like to think that the Jets aren't just rolling over for Rodgers necessarily. But on the other hand, the Jets are pretty desperate to get him. And I think Rodgers knows that. And I think Rodgers is someone who enjoys, I think, all the theatrics of what it is to be, one of the better quarterbacks in the league and everything like that. So I think he's going to kind of drag this out. I don't think we're going to hear, I think for a while, honestly, his decision, unfortunately. I think he's really going to play it out, especially, I still feel like I hear murmurs of like him retiring is still on the table as well. So, which would just be so shitty after all of this. It's just like, I think I'm going to retire anyway. But it should be interesting to see, honestly. I mean, obviously other teams are interested in him. I don't think this is a done deal yet. I do think he is still deciding. I would say it's probably got to be narrowed down between playing or not, though, in terms of like it's going to be the Jets or I retire, I think, for what I've been hearing. So I guess we'll kind of see. I think it'd be pretty weak though if he does retire at this point. Like, it's just so stupid, dude.
But in push comes to shove, and I know with Aaron Rodgers, the number one rule is we really don't know anything, Tony. But push comes to shove. If you had to give me something, are you saying he goes or no?
He goes to the Jets, but not after playing it out.
Right.
Yes.
What do you think, Dwayne?
Yeah, I think Tony touched upon it a little bit. Is Aaron Rodgers? I don't think it's gonna be as easy as that. Like he's gonna sign with the Jets today. Ultimately, I know Aaron holds a lot of leverage in the situation.
Right.
And again, he likes to make a spectacle of a lot of things. It seems like so.
The dark rooms. Come on,
exactly.
Man.
So I don't think it's gonna be a done deal this week. But I also know there's other teams, again, that are interested in Rodgers as well.
Right.
So, and then if you look at the Jets as a team, I don't think adding him will make them automatically Super Bowl favorite. There's still a lot of glaring holes within that team in itself. So I wouldn't discount any other team to magically appear in this conversation of adding Rodgers. But for the sake of the question, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't see him as a Jet. I really think their front office is known to letting things fall. And I just can't imagine Aaron going to New York for some reason, just for some reason.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know, the history of the Jets, the history of all of their failures. So, I see where you're coming from there. But I think that it just does feel though that there is such a different sense at this point of optimism. And I think having his offensive coordinator helps, but also he's lauded the younger players on the Jets many times. Obviously the two that stand out being Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. So
Right.
I think there's that aspect. And I think there's this aspect, of course, we know, he thinks highly of himself.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm sure deep down, and he would never admit it, but it must really bother him that, he goes to a Super Bowl 13 years ago, never returns, only has the one ring. He wants to be known as a multi-time winning Super Bowl quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a part of him, too, that thinks, geez, if I take the Jets to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, I mean, it is going to do wonders for how people receive me. And I may even enter the conversation as the greatest of all time just because of the fact that the ineptitude of the Jets since the late 1960s to where we are now, no one has been able to do it. And I think if he delivers that, he retires, a year or two after Brady. So he gets his, own weekend there featuring him in Canton. I mean, I think that is pretty attractive to him.
So let's talk about like timeline, because we all can agree that Aaron is gonna play. He's not gonna retire.
Right.
So if he's going to this young New York team, how many years can they expect out of him to actually play at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, I have two. I have two in my mind. I don't think he's playing more than two. I think he can play at a high level. I think last year, the biggest thing you could see that the arm is there. I think he was just really frustrated with the way the team had drafted the past couple of years and just refusing to use that first round pick on a receiver or a tight end. And I know Christian Watson ended up emerging down the stretch, but I think that was a big part of it. So I think just a poor attitude, but I think this is just so energizing for him to go to the Jets and basically walk on water because he's going to be so well received by his teammates, by the fans,
on water
because of what they had to deal with, what they've had to deal with since 1969 or whatever year it was, or just the fact what they had to deal with last year. Because, I mean, it's just a complete joke. You feel like you have all the pieces in place, and then your quarterback can't throw a 10-yard out. So you think about the difference of having him there.
You can throw a 10-yard out.
Exactly. And we know, unfortunately, at this point, Zach Wilson can't. So sure, I think he'll leverage the shit out of this, maybe get some more money if there's room for it. But obviously, he's got to keep in mind that Jets, want money to add some more pieces around him. So I think he'll just make sure he has complete control here.
Oh, yeah.
By the end of the day, number 12, and Joe Namath said he could have his number if he comes to the Jets, but he will be starting under center. I can't see it going any other way. And if it does go any other way, we talk about off the rails. This will be one of the most disheartening thing for a franchise that has been too used to disheartening things because everybody is completely set on now that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the Jet quarterback.
Yeah, I know.
It's that simple,
Which is
especially with Derek Carr in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And
I think that's another thing that Carr that Rodgers is using to leverage. Because I mean, think about it. I mean, you hear the New York fan base that like they don't even want to hear Derek. They don't want to hear the other names of quarterbacks. Like they have their hearts, their minds set on having Rodgers and winning a championship this year. The 50 years of disorganization and losing, whatever. It's pretty crazy. But I do have a question for you, Brian. I don't know. I feel like obviously Dwayne, you can jump in here too. But at what point, like if Rodgers is kind of really playing this out and he's just kind of really jerking around other teams, do you think the Jets at any point are like make a decision now or we're pulling our offer? Because like at what point do you keep giving Rodgers this sense of, like you said it, like he's going to come to New York and feel like he is walking on water, and that's going to be a huge problem for his attitude, is what I think. So at what point do you really like kind of, I guess like push him back into reality of like, dude, like I understand, like, yeah, we need you, but it's also like what are we doing? Like you don't ever.
Desperation.
That's brutal, dude.
It's complete insanity. That's what being a Jet fan, a member of the organization is. you have to just do everything you can to make the situation work. Because we got such a taste last year, being 7-5, playoffs, right there in front of us. And then to lose, those last 5 games was just disheartening. And I don't think they want to take a chance, and they know that anybody that they bring in short of, maybe, Lamar Jackson, but then, you have to give up the draft picks and all that and talk about that. But it's going to be a complete disappointment. And I think Woody Johnson, as a guy who has not done a great job as owner of the Jets, I think he really, really wants to deliver for a hungry fan base. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll kind of see. Hopefully Rodgers, doesn't do that. I really hope he's a little humble.
But like I say, he doesn't want to share the spotlight with Brady. And I don't think he wants to end his career losing to the Lions the last game of the season and missing the playoffs and going 8-9. I don't think he wants to go out like that. And I think he knows that with his talent, 1 Super Bowl is a disgrace.
Yeah.
But the weight of winning 1 with the Jets might equal winning 3 more with the Packers.
Yeah, it would be huge.
The magnitude of that's unbelievable.
Speaking of Brady, though, real quick, you think he comes back?
Yeah, it's funny. We were going to talk about that yesterday, and then we forgot.
Yeah.
No.
No.
He's tweeting out about, I don't know, what was he?
Baby kitten?
A baby kitten and stuff. I just think to say things like that and then actually reverse course again, he's a guy who clearly cares about himself and his image. And I know he's going to know that it's going to look pretty bad if he comes back again. So I don't believe so. I know he's obsessed with himself in the spotlight. I get it. But I don't think so. What do you think?
No. If you're thinking realistically, I heard the Miami Dolphins, but
that's what I heard
within
too.
itself, it's like you have 2 as your quarterback. So just logistically, just does not make sense for Brady to come back. And plus, you can just tell the decline in his play.
Mm-hmm.
So, it just doesn't make sense for him to come back in general. So
what do you think, Tony?
I think he will. I think he honestly
this season.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
playing for.
I think Miami.
Wow.
I don't know. I think Tua is a big at this point too, even health wise, it's kind of a liability, dude. I feel like the guy has to be like 1 concussion away from not being able to play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because
I'm pretty sure you can only have 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like now like there's gonna be like some probably like significant brain damage down the line here if you have more than 4 concussions in your lifetime. And he's had like 2 that we know of that have been really bad. Mm-hmm. And one of which he kind of tried to, ignore, I guess, and just kind of battle through. So, I don't know. I just think like medically he's a liability. And if, we know Brady has the house in Florida, I feel like Miami would be a good landing spot for him. It was kind of murmured before Tampa Bay. So, I don't know. I could see him not wanting to do broadcasting. It really seems like he doesn't want to do it, to be honest.
Why did he say he's taking a year off? That is true.
Yeah, because he really doesn't want to fucking broadcast. So I think to get out of it, it's like, I guess I can play for Miami.
See that broadcasting
or
back,
Greg
though?
Olsen, dude.
Yeah.
But I think he comes back. Yeah, and he's done it before. So
he has done it before.
Yes, people are like, maybe he won't because he doesn't want to look like that. But yes, he clearly does. So
will Brady be that big of an upgrade though? Over Tua?
No, Tua is better at this point.
Yeah.
So if he's healthy, but if
a Brady or like getting a decent backup, or maybe they even draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
In the draft,
yeah.
But I just feel like even if they sign Brady, not even necessarily to be like their starter at first, I feel like he would still take it just to be on the team, hanging around, dude. Put him in plays at some point.
Brady does not hang around.
No,
Brady has a backup.
He clearly is trying to hang around. Dude.
No, but hang around, like play, but he's not backing up anybody. I'll tell you that much.
No, we'll see, dude.
Another interesting storyline yesterday. The deal finally gets done. Daniel Jones re-upped with the Giants.
I forgot about that.
Danny Dimes.
4 years, $160 million, $82 million guaranteed. So, excuse me, pretty much 2 years fully guaranteed, and then there's an out after that. Coming off a year where he threw for 3,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 picks, 67% completion, which was a career high, and then ran for a career high, 7 rushing touchdowns and 708 yards. A lot of different, sentiment here, thought, and of course, by agreeing to the extension, it locks him up, at least for the next 2 years, as well as gave them the opportunity to tag Saquon Barkley, which they did. So they'll try to work towards a long-term deal with him. But just at face value, and understand the whole going rate, this and that. But you could talk to me till I'm blue in the face. I just cannot be convinced that Daniel Jones is a $40 million a year quarterback. I don't like the contract. Obviously I'm not a Giants fan, so it doesn't hit home too hard. But I'm just kind of curious. Coming off a year where he threw 15 touchdowns, I know the whole weapons conversation. But is this a big overpay for the New York Giants?
It's so tough, dude. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Giants are also a team that has been, put in a position of desperation as well. And I think Daniel Jones obviously is maybe I wouldn't say taking advantage, but using that to leverage his situation is really what I should say. I don't know. I think what you saw was a huge improvement year for Jones. And obviously, you saw it in the Giants regular season. They're pushing the postseason as well. They were just a couple games away from going to the Super Bowl, basically, dude.
And not to cut you off, but I saw a comment come across Facebook. Is it showing for you?
Donna Barnaby.
Yes.
Yes.
What do we got?
She says, "Good morning, guys. Listening in the car. Go Friars."
Yeah. So we really
dude.
appreciate my mother tuning in
Very
the
much so.
car
I
on her
know.
way to work. And speaking of Friars, tomorrow we will do a preview of their Big East tournament quarterfinal matchup versus who else? But the University of Connecticut. That one should be
Who are you
an
rooting for?
all-time classic. I guess we'll have to tune in tomorrow to find out.
Wow, dude. Is your mother going to call in?
Who knows? She might. I'm sure she'd love to talk Friars.
I think we can have the whole Barnaby family in here tomorrow.
Yeah,
that would be crazy.
We might have to work that out. But back to the contract.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, Tony, though, is it worth it?
Ooh, your mother says yes! Exclamation points. Let's go. Let's go. Call out sick Thursday. Come on. I think it's an overpay. Yeah. I do. And I'm really surprised that they decided to go with Jones again. I understand, you were kind of put into a tough position because I feel like the Giants organization was almost banking a little bit on Daniel Jones not doing that well.
They were supposed to have a top 5 pick this year and draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
And they made the playoffs.
So I mean,
playoff game.
When you think about now the Giants re-signing Jones, I mean, they kind of doubled again. They were put in a tough spot because he had a good year. He probably is going to continue to improve, and he would probably have gone somewhere else and done well, with weapons around him. But now, again, signing him, this kind of new crop of front office for the Giants, it's Jones's guy. They kind of had the excuse of, well, we didn't draft Jones, we inherited him, whatever. Let's wait him out. Now they kind of got stuck with him. Now they're doubling down on him. I think it is an overpay, but again, they were put in a tough position where they're kind of forced to do that. I guess still good job to keep him because it'd be kind of weird if they didn't, I guess. And then they drafted a new quarterback and he's not that good in a couple of years to develop. And it's like, well, you had Jones developing, so why, sort of deal. It was a really tough spot, I think. I still think it's an overpay, but I also kind of think it was the right move at the same time.
Well, and it's just funny, too, how things change so quickly. Obviously, every one of them had him out the door.
He was written off.
But then next year, they obviously have a tougher schedule making the playoffs. If everything goes south, and he reverts back to 2020 or 2021, then they're probably thinking, well, we only got one more year. We have to pay him, and then we're going to get out of this contract. So at least they give him that type of flexibility. But what do you think about the contract?
Overpaid. I agreed. Is Daniel Jones the long-term solution for New York? I don't think so, personally. Did he play himself into that extension? He played well in the playoffs.
So all season. He really did.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with him is consistency.
Don't get me like that.
What was that?
Yeah, but I think not to cut Dwayne off.
No, you do. Brian does it all the time, Dwayne. Don't worry.
All I was gonna say is, but we keep saying good and well, but at one point, do we ever say great? No, so that's something to keep in mind.
No,
and a couple of great games. Better than Zach Wilson.
At the end of the day, he definitely earned himself into the extension. I think it's overpaid, and I definitely don't see him as a long-term solution. But if you look at other quarterbacks that are eligible for the extension, like a Joe Burrow and a Justin Herbert, you cannot help but smile looking at that money that Daniel Jones just got.
Right. No, that's all very true. And I don't know the specifics on it, but I don't think even Patrick Mahomes. Look up Patrick Mahomes' salary. I'm just curious. It can't be that much more per season. I know it was a huge contract over $400 million, but that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I want to say I don't think it's more than 45. Cap hit of 49. But roster. Okay, so it's 40 though, right? Because 5.5 and
annual roster 34.
5.5, and
Right.
then the workout bonus of $500K. So
Yeah.
roughly the same salary.
I mean,
Yearly
they're
cash
similar
is,
players.
40.
They both play at the same level.
You think you're funny, Dwayne?
You don't see similarities?
So that just gives you an idea there. And the other big news yesterday, the Ravens tagging Lamar Jackson, unable to come to terms on a long-term deal. So they do the non-exclusive franchise tag, which basically gives him the opportunity to negotiate with other teams. But those teams, in order to acquire Lamar, would have to give the Ravens 2 first-round draft picks. And also the Ravens do have the opportunity to match. And I think the reason this was done is because Jackson has been hard-pressed for the last year or so on getting the same contract that Deshaun Watson got from Cleveland in terms of a fully guaranteed deal. And obviously the Ravens, given Lamar's style of play with all the running, a little hesitant about that. And just overall, I mean, you think about it, other than Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson, no one else has a guaranteed contract. So, of course, he's upset about it. There's talk about collusion because yesterday, I think it was Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport naming 5 or 6 teams that said, like Atlanta, Miami, the Raiders, that they're not interested in Lamar Jackson. But I personally feel like it's a combination of they don't want to give up 2 firsts, and then also they don't want to give up a fully guaranteed contract. It's tough because you see both sides of it. Of course, that's just been the precedent that's been set that you don't give out guaranteed contracts in the NFL, given all the injuries. But then you look at the other sports, they're all guaranteed. So this is a tricky situation, and I just don't know how this one ends because it seems like you have a fractured relationship there between Jackson and the Ravens, but then also who's the team that's coming in to acquire him? I just don't know how this is going to end.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation because in one, you look at the talent of Lamar Jackson itself, but then the other side is injuries and availability.
Right.
When you're not available for like the biggest games, then what is that really? Can you really give a man that much money? A Deshaun Watson type of contract or just in general? So it's not going to be, I don't see this relationship between Ravens and Lamar being moving forward, being a good one because it's already fractured. So right now it's really going to be like a drama. Because, you also don't have teams jumping at Lamar either. And then the asking price is definitely too high, especially in terms of what he's done recently. So it's going to be something that is definitely going to be keep an eye on throughout the season.
Lamar Jackson is the starting quarterback for the Tony
Falcons.
Next year. Falcons?
Yeah.
Dwayne?
Falcons next year?
Yeah. So what's your prediction? Where's he playing next year?
I'll say either Miami or Atlanta.
And I am going to say Atlanta makes a lot of sense. So I guess it would be interesting. Arthur Smith, innovative mind, but it just doesn't seem like he can go back to the Ravens. But it's tough for the Falcons, though. You're coming off a year where you didn't perform well, and then to give up 2 first-round picks, but then you get, a former league MVP. So there's 2 sides to everything. Obviously, 2 doesn't have the track record in the postseason. And who knows? I mean, hopefully this stuff with Rodgers works out. I could see it being a backup player for the Jets, but once again, I think there's some hesitancy to give up 2 first-round picks. Last thing I just wanted to mention here, and this just kind of came across my screen. Last year, towards the end of the year, a lot of hype about Odell Beckham Jr., where is he going to play, coming off that ACL injury 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. Didn't end up getting into any games. A lot of hype with Jerry bringing him to Dallas. And this was just on my ESPN screen. Where does he sign? And one thing that came to mind here, I don't know what you guys think, but the possibility of him maybe going to the Jets, returning to New York, and then also, knowing that he'd be kind of, the veteran, the leader in that wide receiver room. Is that something that you could see happening? Because there's been links to him going to Green Bay with Rodgers being there, the past couple of years. What do you think?
I don't know, dude.
Is it just simply you're worried about him blowing up the locker room?
Yeah. Come on. Honestly, I don't know. I don't.
But if Rodgers says, "I'll come, but I want Odell," what do you think they're gonna say?
They're gonna say yes.
What do you think?
If Rodgers asks for OBJ, they're gonna get OBJ. But again, it's kind of like this is another guy, like you just don't another guy you just don't know what to expect out of.
Right.
I mean, so we heard about Dallas being linked to him the whole entire year, it seems like. But ultimately, he's gonna go to a team that has a quarterback, a top caliber quarterback who can give him the ball. That's ultimately where he's gonna go.
Right.
And then do we think though more likely Jets or more likely a reunion with the Giants? If you had to give me one.
For Odell.
That's tough.
I want to say Jets. I think he would be a little bit more inclined to be like, oh, I'm going to win it with a different New York team now and stick to the Giants. Like, hey, like, yeah, like you treated me poorly. I'm right. I can win still. And he obviously already did win, but I can win for New York, but not for you. Screw you sort of deal.
What do you think?
I say Jets because he went to the Giants. They don't really have a number one.
Right.
Over the Giants said Odell's now number one receiver. So the Jets just makes most sense because he won't be relied on to be that number one guy.
And another guy who obviously cares about, his
Himself.
persona, how he's received. Was he ever a bigger star than he was when he was in the New York market? You think about how his career and just him, how he was perceived changed once he went to the Cleveland Browns. And even in LA was not a big star. Obviously midseason trade wasn't there that long. And it's just kind of a different animal, being, with the Rams versus the type of attention you get being on, the Giants or the Jets. But that is definitely an interesting story to keep in mind. And I believe legal tampering period for free agency starts next week.
Wow.
So a lot of things are going to be determined. The Bucks have cut some big names. Donovan Smith, Leonard Fournette. They're in a period of transition. A lot of teams looking for quarterbacks. A lot of rumors about who's going into that number one pick position. With the Bears seemingly committed to Justin Fields. So it's going to be a very, very exciting offseason. I'm really excited about it. So just a very busy time in the world of sports right now. But let's go now to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal!
My goodness, this is a great shot.
Big hit on the far side by Makar. He flattens Jordan's skull. Oh my goodness! Next to come right back. Terrified and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliant from Igor Shesterkin. It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime.
All right. So, Tony, I think after the last 2 days of picks, we're going to start getting offers from bookmakers to get jobs. I believe so. We were 7-1 last night, and I think the night before we were 5-1, right?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Absolutely love it, dude. We know hockey.
Yeah. And really, we had a chance to really focus on the league as a whole, the Rangers being off. And once again, they're off tonight before that game with the Canadiens.
They need it.
Tomorrow. In terms of teams, nearby, the Devils did lose at home yesterday. The Toronto Maple Leafs. So a little bit of surprise there. They've been so good of recent, but fall to 41-16 after losing 4-3. A game that featured no scoring in the first period. We saw Jamrock in Hala with goals in the second, leaving the game tied at 1 apiece entering the third, and then a very high-scoring third period.
Oh, yeah.
Featuring a lot of guys that Tony is very familiar with. Mitch Marner starting the scoring, a shorthanded goal, make it 2-1 Toronto. Palat answers to make it 2-2. You have a Halala to make it 3-2 Devils, but then Maple Leafs 2 straight goals to end the game to win 4-3, one being Michael Bunting. Tony.
Michael Bunting, dude.
And then Austin Matthews, the go-ahead goal there, 4-3 the Maple Leafs over the Devils.
Brutal. Brutal.
Were you impressed with Toronto picking up the road victory here, Tony?
Yeah, I would say a little bit. Obviously the Devils were my pick last night. My only loss in our pick segment. I knew it would be a close game because I think the first time these two teams faced each other, the Devils, maybe the Maple Leafs won 3-2, I think.
Yeah.
In a really tight, close game. And that's exactly what you saw. When we previewed this game, this is going to be something that you're going to see two teams face each other in the playoffs, high level, a high pace of hockey with high stakes, right? So, you expect a game like this to kind of, start out slow where these two teams know that at any point they could score, but because they know that, there's kind of timid starting out, lack of scoring to start off. And then once kind of, that first, goal kind of hits the back of the net, the dam breaks and you kind of saw scoring left and right. You got to give it to, Toronto for, middle of the third period, they're down by a goal and then they end up having like a 2-goal swing to win the game. And I think a lot of that momentum kind of started with, it was Marner's shorthanded goal, I believe, early in the third. And I know like the Devils ended up scoring twice after that to kind of take the lead back again. But I think that shorthanded goal is just, it's demeaning, but to the other team, and it really hypes you up on, on the other end. And I think Toronto had a big penalty kill too in the third period that really shifted some momentum. I always say, always watch out for a good penalty kill because that great defense can really swing a team the other way in terms of attitude. And hockey is a big momentum game. And, Austin Matthews closing it out on the power play too. Good job for him too, for kind of not finally, but, I was kind of bashing him a little bit in terms of his production yesterday. For him to kind of not only have a good game, but to have the game-winning goal for his team says a lot against a good Devils team too. And of course, you got to appreciate the goaltending there for Toronto. Samsonov with, 30 saves on 33 shot attempts. Pretty high, obviously, shot attempts there that Samsonov faced. And of course, the Devils had really good opportunities. And Samsonov, I think, really proved himself again to be like, hey, like, come a big spot in the playoffs in a 7-game series. Like, it's going to be hard getting past me. So, like I said, big, I think, playoff preview, possibly. And, just looking at that game, the playoffs are going to be absolutely wild.
Yeah, as they usually are. And I'm just kind of curious too. And obviously, it's not just about one game, but heading, obviously we're into the stretch run here, but heading into the playoffs, who would you guys say is more dangerous here, the Devils or the Maple Leafs? What do you think to win?
I say the Maple Leafs. Again, I think this just looking outside this game alone,
Yeah.
but I think it's all about playing great hockey at the right time. It's all about timing. And I really buy into Maple Leafs right now, especially how they're starting to play now. And then, going on the road is not easy, especially I know the Devils are a really good team in their own, but again, going on the road, I think you're starting to see players starting to play better. They're better hockey right now. So I'd definitely say the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, for me, I understand what you're saying where it's about playing great hockey at the right time. And again, you think of the Maple Leafs and like Marner and even Bunting too are young. Matthews is young too. Tavares has seen playoffs before.
Right.
But like my heart wants to go with Devils because of how much they've come as a team and how much talent and like for me as again, like someone who can kind of remove himself from the bias of being a Rangers fan, I love watching the Devils. Like they're a great team. Their goaltender and Vanacek that they found this season was just ridiculous. But I don't know. Like I think on paper, I look at it as a team that has never. These kids are so young, and they've come a long way playing together the past 2 years to develop themselves. I just have a feeling like in the playoffs they're gonna be a little like shocked. I think like because they've never experienced a hockey playoff like this, hockey playoffs in general. And I think as all that talent, I think the Maple Leafs will have a little bit more of a veteran presence where they know how to feel, how to think, how to react during the playoffs and what to expect. Like in anything, when you don't know what to expect, you're kind of nervous and that can kind of, block your decision making or whatever. And it's in a game like this, like at a level of hockey that they're playing, how quick it is. Like, I think that really kind of, unfortunately for the Devils, plays a factor. So I would probably go in a 7-game series, the Maple Leafs as well.
Yeah. And I just think too, they're due The talent is so rich there in Toronto.
I know.
With everybody healthy, I mean, it's tough to bet against them. And they're definitely a team, I wouldn't be excited about the Rangers facing in the playoffs.
No.
That's for sure. One other game I just wanted to mention from yesterday, surprisingly close in Montreal between the Hurricanes and the Canadiens. Went to a shootout. Carolina ultimately winning 4-3 here. Pretty deep into the shootout, and I am not going to say this name right, but Jesperi Kotkaniemi with a snapshot game winner, 3-2 in the shootout and 4-3 overall. So the Hurricanes with yet another win, 19-5-6 on the road. They've been playing just such consistent hockey for the last couple of months. Really impressive. One thing that is a little concerning, I mean, obviously, they have a third goaltender who's played great that's in the AHL right now, but Antti Ranta left this one after the first period with some type of injury. I guess they didn't disclose it. I'm
tough.
sure, as Tony would say, they'll call it an upper body injury.
With him, probably a lower body injury.
Right. So Frederick Anderson came in to replace him. But obviously, like I said, they just signed what's the guy's name? I always forget it. I get it confused with Sevy, but he's like a winger. But what's the goalie? He's Kochkinov. Is it Kochkinov?
Oh yeah, Kochnikov is their young guy.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe this opens up an opportunity for him. And this is a game where they had some different guys scoring for them. Slavin had his 5th, and Tony's favorite, Brady Shea, with his 12th. There, and then Jesper Fast, had his 8th as well.
Former Ranger.
But Carolina, I've mentioned this before. I mean, I do think that they are a little, kind of they're not looked at as closely as maybe they should be. Just because I think it's more, you look at Toronto, it's all about Austin Matthews, and to a level, John Tavares, a lot of hype about Samsonov as well. But with Carolina, there's not one guy who you would say, oh, he's definitively a top 5 player in the NHL. So I feel like there's not as much focus on them, but I think they're a team that is going to give teams some serious trouble come playoff time.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. Like you said, they don't have necessarily one guy. But they have they have like at least 3 guys that are in, the mid to high 50s in terms of points. That would be Aho, Nikos, and Svechnikov too. And then, of course, you have, Tara Vannon as well. He has, he only has 10 goals, but 23 assists. The guy with the Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Finnish guy, youthful, 22 years old, 30 points in this season. Obviously not in the league for a while, but for him to have 30 points, I mean, it's some production, plus 8 out on the ice too. Like, all these guys are very, very solid, like from top to bottom. And they're led by, veteran, like a veteran group. Foss has been in the league for a while. George Stahl has been in the league for a while. He's seen cups, playoffs.
Stefan, right?
Yeah, Derek Stepan as well, former Ranger. He was, on the Rangers when they were making playoff runs against the Kings back in the day.
Wait, but I don't. I always get him and Broussard confused. But Broussard was a Ranger as well.
Derek Broussard,
the 1,000th game, had the 2 goals for Ottawa against the Rangers.
Yeah, he got traded away
but they were on the same teams that went to
Broussard and Stepan.
Okay. I knew the names were very familiar.
And then Paul Stastny, he was on the St. Louis Blues team when they won the Cup a few years ago too. So you have like not only just great talent across the board, but then you have a great mix of youthful speed and veteran minds. Shane Gostisbehere, I think, was a rookie of the year when he came in for the Flyers. He's a great defenseman. Brady Shea, we know, is a great defenseman too. Jacob Slavin, great defenseman. Brent Burns, someone who went to the Cup Finals with the Sharks, back when they played Pittsburgh. I mean, again, a great defender who's been in the league forever. I mean, they're just a top to bottom great team. You mentioned Kochnikov, a young goalie. Anderson, they can lean on as well. And even with Ranta gone, if he is injured.
Who would you start if it was up to you?
Between those 3 goaltenders? That is really tough. I mean, you look at Anderson's numbers. I think he started out pretty hot. Kind of fizzed out. Goals against on average is 2.35, 6th in the league. That's great. Save percentage is kind of high at 906, or low, I guess, at that point. If I'm thinking like 7-game series off the playoffs, it's definitely not going to be Kochnikov. I think I would go with Antti Ranta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like he's always been one of your favorites.
Yeah, he really has been. He's obviously a former Ranger as
Yeah.
well, and he's someone who, backed up Hank. And I think at the time, Hank was injured for a little while, and Antti Ranta was our day-to-day goaltender, like the dog days leading up to the playoffs too. So I mean, you've seen so much good from him, and to see him on a team like Carolina, and we saw him in the playoffs last year too, do a great job too. So I would definitely start Ranta.
And it's funny too because Chokri, being a big Hurricanes fan, he's ready for Kochkinov, but
yeah,
I understand it for both sides. I mean, the production has been unbelievable when he's been in there, but at the same time, Stanley Cup playoffs, a completely different animal.
Yeah, especially for a goaltender, so much weight on your shoulders, dude.
Right. Exactly. So something interesting to keep in mind. And then speaking of interesting, and we've harped on this before, but once again, I think tonight's NHL slate is an example of just not being well thought out.
Yeah.
So you're on a Wednesday here. I'm sure, there's some college basketball tournaments, underway, the Power Five, but we're not to the meat of the tournament where, it's the final 4 teams in the conference finals for the big boys. So this is an opportunity to really have a spotlight, and they have 3 games, Blackhawks, Red Wings, Wild Jets, Ducks, Canucks. I just feel like, there's so much more of an opportunity to get, teams with, that are more kind of, closely followed, bigger names, and to have the Blackhawks, Red Wings, Ducks, Canucks as your TNT games. I don't know what the thought process was there, because this was a night that I think hockey could have dominated. But with this slate, and I know, Wild Jets is technically a good matchup, but it's just you would expect a little better from the schedule makers. What do you? Is there any reason behind this, or do you think that it's especially in terms of national or standalone exposure, that the NHL just wants to give every team a shot? Is that why we have nights like this?
Dude, honestly, I have no idea. I mean, you look at that. I mean, Blackhawks at Red Wings, and Ducks at Canucks are both, you mentioned TNT games, nationally covered.
If Hank's in the studio for this, what's he saying?
He's probably talking about how great the Red Wings are, and why would they even talking about the Blackhawks at all? Same thing with Ducks Canucks. I mean, that's
Pedersen.
Yeah, the only thing you talk about is how these 2 teams, they rhyme. Ducks and Canucks, dude. That is cool to say. Good night, everybody. I know. Yeah, I know. I mean, again, these are 2 games where you're probably only talking about the futures of these 2 teams and not where they're standing at all in the league currently right now.
And the Wild and Jets are high up on the playoff standings, and they're the one game that's not a national game. And I know obviously a lot of people have ESPN Plus so they can watch it, but it's just kind of something to keep in mind. And then also too, and you weren't here when we were talking about this, Dwayne, but the fact that the Rangers have 4 consecutive days off and then play 4 games in 6 days. How does that make sense?
That is harsh.
Yeah.
Very harsh.
Especially hockey of all sports. I mean, it's the most physical, I mean, it's really ridiculous to have that. But I guess it is what it is. But you want to see hockey grow, and I think stuff like this holds it back a little bit.
I mean, ESPN flubs it, dude.
I mean, don't you flex games in?
I'm not sure how that
some
works.
other sports. They flex games. They flip flop, national broadcast.
Yeah. It's not unheard of to do.
Yeah,
and ESPN should certainly be doing that. They do that at collegiate levels. They flex broadcasts.
I mean, they do that in the NFL.
They're not gonna have second to last week of the season, the number 1 team on ACC Network. They're obviously gonna move the game.
So what are we doing over there at TNT and ESPN?
I think it's more Gary Bettman. He's caught some slack in the past, so I kind of think it falls on him. We'll see. But anyway, with 3 games, Tony, we could do 1 apiece and a common. So kind of not much to choose from here. But what are you thinking?
Yeah, sure. Give me the Red Wings. Dylan Larkin. I know they just oh my God, who they traded away to Boston. For some reason, Henrik Zetterberg comes to my mind, but
I honestly don't remember. Was it a defender or no?
No, it was a winger. And all right, hold on. I don't know what this.
It's gonna bother you.
It's really bothering me right now, dude.
Tyler. Bertuzzi?
Bertuzzi.
Bertuzzi.
That's what they traded away. Yeah,
Ah,
Bertuzzi.
Right.
Thank you, Dwayne. I know they just traded away Bertuzzi, but I mean, come on, dude. It's the Blackhawks, and I know the Blackhawks just beat Ottawa 5-0 to snap like a 7-game losing streak. And I know, Detroit's been on a little bit of a skid here, but I think maybe Detroit's time to, break off this losing streak. Last time these two teams faced, Blackhawks did actually win 4-3 in overtime, but that was way back in November. So give me the Red Wings here. Dylan Larkin, 3 goals and an assist. Husso,
3 goals and an assist.
3 goals and a tricky. Yeah.
You tried to like casually say 3 goals. I mean, a hat trick, Tony. I mean, that's a big thing.
No, yeah. I mean, that's for
3
Dylan
goals.
Larkin. I mean, he's the
goals.
man, dude. 3 goals and assist. Maybe a face-off winning percentage of
light.
69%.
I feel like, it's funny though. He's a guy. If I said he's going to go to the Rangers, you'd be all excited about it. But McDavid, oh God forbid, I.
Because
said
Dylan
that.
Larkin is great, dude. Dylan Larkin is awesome.
McDavid's not great. McDavid's not great.
Because we don't have to give the fucking farm
Oh
house.
my God,
and the
30-year-old
mansion,
free
dude.
agent, Tony. I mean, come on.
30-year-old free agent.
You might as well do the voiceover.
Yeah.
He might be the only person in the world that will not accept McDavid.
Oh my God, I know.
I'm not saying I'm not going to accept him. If he wants to come over to the
Yeah.
Rangers for a couple draft picks, sure. But I mean, that's
this is
it,
like
dude.
Tony talking about Connecticut.
That's it.
It's the
dude.
same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
Um,
It's very different. Dylan Larkin, hat trick. Oh God damn it, dude.
Oh, he's getting too animated.
I know. I
here.
should have hit the fucking thing, dude.
Wait,
Stand by.
Oh, so it's not a connection. It was just the settings. Yeah.
No,
There you
it
go.
is a connection. It's.
Okay.
I think this thing gets a little flubbed
Ah.
here. No worries. We are back here. Dylan Larkin with the hat trick and an assist. Ville Husso. I should really double check if he's
No
honestly
McDavid.
starting, dude. No McDavid, dude. Real quick, daily face off. But if it's Husso,
Nice.
it's Husso with a
No,
shutout.
it's just 'cause
Okay,
I
it's the
suggested
Red
the
Wings
idea. It doesn't have to
winning
be
this
right,
game, just like Chicago beat Ottawa, 5-0 Red Wings.
All right. I
Wow.
like it. I'm gonna attack a team that
Do
I
it.
like attacking here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Wild
I knew it.
over the Jets. I've just been on
Oh.
this thing all season. The Jets aren't that good. They're not the number 1 team in the West. All
Connor
that
Hellebuck.
stuff. Of course, they've slid down the standings of recent. Still have an opportunity to move up. But I think the Wild are more solid. I've been impressed with Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, I was
you really got to be, dude.
really questioning why they would go into the season with him as a starter and how they would jettison Cam Talbot. But of course, it's worked out. So I like, what they do with Kaprizov, and I'm not worried about Hellebuck. I really don't care. So give me
the green screen went off.
kind of a
Wow.
nice change of pace, though.
It kind of is, dude. But this
give
is
me-
pretty crazy, dude.
Give me the Wild. I'm gonna say 4-1 Kaprizov with 3 goals and an assist.
Dude, that's a hat trick.
So give me that, and then that leaves us the marquee matchup of the night, the late game between the Ducks and the Canucks. Tony, both teams though, bottom of the standings, 1-3 out of 5. This point in the year is when those teams that you say, oh, they can't win this. That's when they start winning.
Yeah.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we got to pick one though. So what do you think? The old 1-2-3?
Yeah, the old 3-2-1.
The old 3-2-1. Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Canucks.
Ducks. All right.
All right,
Fair enough.
dude,
I
let's
thought
do it.
you differentiate the minus
No,
220 would be
Tyler
a little
Seagrass
sketchy
stuff.
for you.
No, yeah. You know what, dude? I think they're itching for you to take Anaheim. Okay, they're itching for you. Make
Listen,
sure take the
I
dog.
think they
Take
suck.
the dog.
How many
dude.
goals for Pedersen? 3 goals and an assist? or-
No. 1 goal, 2 assists. Kuzmenko, dude, for Vancouver. I'm telling you, he's got 2 goals and an assist. Pedersen's got 1 goal and 2 assists. You see the pattern I'm laying down here, dude.
You know who I don't know if he's injured. I haven't heard anything about Terry this season. I mean, having a down year, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
Last year, I mean, it was like every day we're talking about him, and we had high expectations for the Ducks going into last year. The veteran squad. Okay, so
He's got
Terry,
47 points, 17 goals. 13
I mean, but it's not as
assists,
good as
dude.
it was last year.
He's just
I
not
think.
like Tyler Zegras, dude.
Yeah, not
or
exactly
Trevor,
Tyler
excuse me.
Grigas, Trevor Williams. But yeah, so short slate tonight. Hopefully the matchups will be better than anticipated.
Oh yeah,
exciting
dude.
games.
Yeah.
I can't believe the Ducks. Not for nothing. I'm looking at their roster. Kevin Shattenkirk, dude. Like, are you kidding me? On the team, like that's their defenseman they're putting out there.
Come on.
I mean, honestly, he's 34 years old, washed up, dude, washed up. Also, he used to be in the Rangers a couple years ago.
But what an exciting, point in the year we are here. The Masters inside 1 month away, Players Championship starting this week, NFL free agency next week, baseball opening day, the end of the month. You really can't beat it. And I am just so excited for baseball season. I'm completely blanking here. Baseball, your team again?
Reds.
The Reds, yeah.
Okay.
The great Cincinnati
Ohio.
Reds.
But do you even at this point, are you watching games with the way the team is? Like, where are you with following the team?
Unfortunately, I am a diehard fan, so
You have like the MLB package and stuff?
I don't, but I do have that subscription that I'm able to stream the games.
Okay.
So
okay.
so yeah, watch the Reds,
Yeah.
Another building year. Joey Votto.
Who if there is one guy that's like a younger player that's on the team, is there one, is it like Hunter Green or Lodolo that everybody's excited about?
No, it's definitely Hunter Green and Lodolo. I mean, Hunter Green, you're not gonna find too many. I mean, there is a lot of guys starting to throw like easy 100 plus miles per hour on their fastballs, but again, our prize,
everyone does that.
Yeah, our pride and joy is Hunter Green and Lodolo. We got 2 young pitching prospects.
Hell yeah.
And it's kind of turning into a send-off kind of year for
is
Joey
it the last
Votto.
year of his deal or?
I think it is.
Okay.
So again, we have like guys like Senzel and Jonathan India, who's a former rookie of the year.
Right. Right. You expected more out of him.
Right. He had a down year a little bit last year, but again, if we're looking at potential in the future, he's another guy that is going to be a lot of eyes on for this season.
I have a feeling they'll be declining the $22.5 million club option for next season.
I think so.
I think so too. There's a high chance of that happening.
But wait, 37 home runs. Was it like 2021 he did that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. But you think any type of resurgence this season, or do you think it's gonna? I know last year he heavily, mightily struggled. I mean, you think it might be more of the same, or
I mean,
205, 11 home runs. Go down, Tony. I'm just curious. 36 and 99. But
it's a good year.
Bounce back.
I think the average is not going to be there, but I think he still has the power. So he's still going to hit for power. It's just
I could see that
the average is not going to be there, and he's going to be our third, most likely our third player in our lineup.
Who's cleanup?
I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be Will. Blanking. We just signed him over the off season.
Will Myers,
yes. Okay. So and again, it's another example of how the Reds like to use we'll sign a player, and then that player is looking to use us as like let me restart my career and get paid next season. So he's probably not going to be there for too long.
Jonathan India, watch out. Second baseman.
Great a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Go to Myers' numbers. I just wanted to see that quickly here.
Because he's just come off of a down year, and signed for cheap.
Yeah, 7 home runs, 41 RBIs, 261.
A couple years ago, he was.
Let's see here. 2017, he was 30 and 74
with a 243 average.
Yeah.
So a guy that was highly touted.
But 2 years ago, 288 average. That's really
well thought of with the Rays back 10 years ago.
Yeah,
point,
dude,
but
so crazy.
Hasn't quite delivered, but good opportunity for him.
Looks like he's been smoking a little bit too much of the hashish, dude.
I think it's like he's probably looking at it. I want to do what Brandon Drury did last year.
Yeah. And it also helps that you're playing at Great American Ballpark, which is very home run friendly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can probably see a tick in his
good fan base.
Yeah.
Nice family arena.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting.
How many games do you think they're winning this year? How many games?
Well, I mean, I kind of heard and listened. You guys had them finishing last in the NL Central.
Yeah.
So I was kind of okay.
Dude. Yeah, dude.
Even the Pirates of all teams.
Hey, O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was saying. Dude.
I like
Come
Mitch
on,
Keller.
Man,
he has a very strong arm, sure.
Roansy Contreras. But you think they'll be better than the Pirates?
Yeah. I mean, I
think like 62 wins. 64 wins.
You have a look of 70.
Yeah, you do have a look of 70.
I'll say
scary that look.
Yeah.
I'll say 65 to 70.
65
okay,
70.
I like that.
You never know with baseball, though. I mean, that is the one thing.
That's true.
And
Joey Votto.
That's why we're so excited about this.
Joey Votto's going to turn into the 2010 Joey Votto.
Yeah.
MVP.
That would be something.
Yeah.
That would be something.
High hopes.
But wow, like I said, an exciting time. And what a show today. I feel like we really, covered everything.
Oh, yeah, we really did, dude.
We'll have another great episode for you guys tomorrow. Rangers finally back in action. And of course, the leaderboard update from TPC Sawgrass. So we're all
Keegan Bradley.
Very much anticipating that.
Keegan
Bradley, Jason Day, get your bet slips in.
Rory McIlroy.
I think all locks for top 20s too. So if you want to be a little more conservative, I would recommend that. But really like to thank everybody for tuning in today, continuing to comment, like, and subscribe, checking out the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee, and Costume, as well as the merch at downtimetv.com. The spring collection is here. We want everybody to enjoy their day, enjoy the games, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.